welcome back to my channel. I'm JC, and today's video I am going to be discussing my manuscript. So this is episode 4 in my editing and revising my manuscript series. It's a little bit more of a rambling video than I had intended for it to be, but I did promise I would go over the beats in the Romancing the Beats book. So I do a little bit of that, and I go over with you where I am in my outline. I'm still working on the outline. I thought I'd be finished by now, but nevertheless I am not. So I'm just gonna slide over to the video so that you can see for yourself where I'm at in the story. I'll be back. Hello, different angle. Baby is sleeping, so I'm babysitting duty. This is not vlog week, so I don't have a vlog to shoot, so I am in the living room getting ready to do some work on my outline. So I figured it's time for episode 4 of this video, of this series. And because I haven't updated in a while, I had to rewatch the last one to see where I left off at. Where I left off at was I was finishing up chapter 9, and I have actually done something since then. I think chapter 9, she had just revealed the truth to him about the secret baby. And in the end of chapter 9, he doesn't really have anyone that he can, it's his POV, so he didn't really have anyone that he can go talk to, because normally he would talk to her when he's upset, but this time she's the one who upset him. And he's not telling his fiance because he hasn't told her about their history. So he definitely doesn't, can't just say, hey, by the way, we have a secret child. So, his ex-best friend is the father of her other child. So he kind of was responsible for him having to leave them and leaving town and going on a run because he did something, and Bryant was the one who kind of snitched on him. You don't snitch on your friends except for when you have an ulterior motive. Which his was, he was in love with Autumn. And, ooh, sorry, I'm looking really rough. But, so he goes to the cemetery. Because his mom is dead. And she died a few years before this story starts. And, so he goes and talks to her. So that's how the chapter 9 ends with him, calling Autumn and basically saying, okay, when do we leave to go to Spencer, their daughter, to help her? Because if you remember, I said the daughter is sick with leukemia, which is why the aunt that she gave her up to is calling. So that's chapter 10 starts with Autumn talking to her best friend. Chapter 10 and 11 are from Autumn's point of view. She's talking to her best friend Morgan and explaining that she needs her to take her son Jason for a little while, for a few days. She's going out of town, and she kind of tries to not really tell her why. She broke down and told her everything. She told her how deep her and Brian's relationship went all those years ago, that they somehow had fallen in love with each other, and then she had gotten pregnant, and then she wanted to get back with Javon and be with him again. So the only answer was the answer in her mind was to have an abortion, or at least so she let Brian think that she was gonna have one, but clearly she didn't. She couldn't go through with it. And so, kind of explaining some of the time that she was away in high school that Morgan, had questioned, and kind of like, a realization for her, like, so you weren't really, this was what was happening during that time. So, Morgan is a little, not upset, but confused as to why she felt she couldn't tell her. And so she's like, she didn't tell anyone. Her father doesn't even know. Only person who knows is the aunt, of course, because she's the one who kept her and raised her. She gets into a little bit of a fight with Kyle at the end of chapter 10, explaining that she has to go away. She did tell him that Javon was back in town. She didn't know why, that But, you know, she was just telling him. And then she was telling him that she was leaving. But she gives him some vague reason as to why she's leaving that's not really, you know, pleasing to him. He's starting to get a little suspicious, doesn't know what's going on. And she did mention that Brian was back, but I don't think doesn't tell him. She does mention that Brian is back also, but doesn't tell him the full extent of their history, the relationship part of it. And so in chapter 11, you see them on a plane. They're on the plane together, her and Brian. But Brian is not speaking to her because he's still pissed with her. And so they whole plane ride silent. She does ask him, "Are you going to not talk to me the whole time?" They have a little exchange there, but not really. And, you know, he just doesn't talk to her. The aunt picks them up at the airport, and she kind of, I don't want to say breaks it down, but she kind of lays down the law and says, you know, this is just about you helping her. She doesn't, basically the aunt doesn't want them to meet her. She doesn't want any real interaction between her now daughter, her adopted daughter, but her daughter and them. Obviously the child doesn't know that, well, the child doesn't know she's adopted, so that's one thing. But so she obviously doesn't know that these are her biological parents. And Brian kind of goes off on her because he's like, I just found out that I had a child. So don't tell me that I can't meet my child or whatever, because I'm just now learning about this. You two had all of these years to know this information. I didn't know anything. He's kind of pissed. Naturally, as one would be when they find out that someone kept a child from them for all these years. And so, they go to the hospital. They do the procedure to test their, you know, to see if they're a match and everything. And so, chapter 12 is Brian's POV, where you get to see most of the inner thoughts that he's having. He's thinking back to when she had told him that she was pregnant, when he tried to convince her that he wanted to have the baby, that they could have a life together, you know, but she was 16, so they were young. They were both really young. So kind of like really, you know, in her mind, could she have had? And in his mind, he was just like, you know, he loved this woman or this girl and wanted to, you know, see where things could go and if they could be a family and whatnot. So, so he's in the hospital taking all this in thinking about all these things and wondering what it would be like to raise his own daughter. I don't think at this point he hasn't really even seen her, and neither has she, and neither has Autumn. So, you know, they're having all these things, thoughts and feelings without ever actually meeting the girl. They don't even know if they're going to be allowed to meet her because the aunt is kind of really adamant about keeping them away from her. Spoiler alert, that's not going to last. But, so, he does go, he kind of resolves it within himself to kind of forgive Autumn. He knows he's holding on to this secret that he's keeping from her about the reason why, you know, she was left alone and Javon went on the run or whatever, or in hiding, and just left her to raise their child by herself was his fault. It was because of him. He snitched on him, whatever. So he's holding that secret in. So he feels like, well, maybe I don't have a right. You know, her secret is a lot bigger, but he's like, maybe I don't have a right to be mad. So he decides to forgive her. Plus, he still loves her, but he's not sure if she still feels the same spark he still feels when he sees her. So, you know, there's all of that. And so that is where I worked on it a little bit last night. He does call his fiance and gives her some vague explanation as to where he is and doesn't know when he's coming home and all that. He has a conversation with Cassie near the end of chapter 12 as well, where he has lots of questions. He has lots of questions with no answers, and he knows he's probably not gonna get all the answers from Autumn, so he's like asking her. He's asking her about Spencer, so that he can't get from Autumn. He's asking about his daughter, how she is as a person, growing up, and all that stuff. Then he asked her about all those years ago, the exchange, how it happened, what was it like for Autumn in those last months or whatever when she was about to give birth. He asked her about the birth. All that kind of questions that he knows Autumn is not going to really want to answer. So he asked Cassie. He explains to Cassie that he's frustrated, he's hurt, and angry, and he never had a say in the matter. He never had a choice in the matter, and he makes it very clear to her that he never chose to give up his child, and he wouldn't have chosen to give up his child. So, kind of puts her on notice that don't think that everything is settled because he didn't have a choice. So, I am on chapter 13, back into Autumn's POV now. And that is where I am at right now. So, I will be back later today with an update. Because I'm shooting this whole episode apparently in one day because I have not been shooting shots over the course of several days like I should have been. But that's because I haven't really been working on it a whole lot because I kind of got stuck at a point and then I was working on some other stuff. So, but I really want to get this outline done. So, I'm going to push through and at least get a couple of chapters hopefully in this episode done. But I'm up to chapter 13. What did I say I was at? I just lost it that way. I'm on 13 now. So where I left off in episode 3, I was just finishing chapter 9. So I've done a few chapters since then. So hopefully we can get a few more chapters done in this one. And of course, when I come back, I'm going to talk about this little baby. But okay, so I'm back. I did say that in this episode, I would get into each beat that's in this book and figure out or apply them to my story, although some of them may not quite apply, but we'll see. So I'm just going to do a rundown real quick of the beats. She splits it up into 4 phases, which have like different points in each phase. So phase 1 is the setup, and that's when you have intro to main character 1, intro to main character 2, the meet cute, the no way number 1, and the adhesion plot thrust. Phase 2 is the falling in love, which includes the no way number 2, the inkling this could work, deepening desire, maybe this will work, in the midpoint of the love plot thrust. Phase 4 is retreating from love, which includes inkling of doubt, deepening doubt, retreat, shields up, and the breakup. And phase 4 is fighting for love, dark night of the soul, wake up or catharsis, grand gesture, what wholehearted looks like, and the epilogue. So here's where my story might get kind of thrown out of whack with these beats, but I think I can still finagle something. But the meet cute for one, because in my story they're not meeting for the first time. And if this was about her and the fiance, maybe I could like flash back to when they met as the meet cute, but this is not really about the person she's supposed to be marrying. This is about the person that she's meant to marry. That we'll get there. But so they've already met. They were with each other in high school. So I'm not sure how I fit the meet cute part of this beat sheet into my story. I had a commenter, one of my subscribers. She said that it doesn't need a meet cute because it's a second chance love type of story, which I have to look into. Maybe there's a specific beat sheet in terms of romance writing for the second chance love type that I haven't stumbled upon yet. I will have to research that and check that out. But so yeah, second chance love doesn't really fit into the beat sheet she created, but that's fine. Um, and then the other part is in the retreating from love section, the breakup, because technically they're not together. They are already not together. They haven't been together since the high school days. They're in the whole will they, won't, well, it's kind of a will they feed into the spark? Will they not feed into the spark? It's kind of will she dump her fiance and he dump his fiance to get back together? Will they, won't they? That's which doesn't fit into this VG either, but it's fine. um, we'll figure that out. But so the setup, okay, so in terms of my book, you have the introduction to Autumn, which is chapter 1, and the introduction to Brian, which is chapter 2. So I've introduced them. That part of the setup, you know, went fine. But so I am at the part, and see, the thing is, there's this whole question of, okay, like in chapter 12, the one I just finished, Brian's point of view, is the first time he's acknowledging he still has feelings for her. He's still, you can kind of see it in some previous chapters, the interaction between them, that there's still a spark there, but neither one of them says it. She gets a little jealous seeing him with his fiance. He hasn't seen her with her fiance yet, so there's no mention of him being jealous yet. But there's a little twinge of jealousy that she has. So you know that there's some jealousy there, but that doesn't necessarily mean she still carries a torch for him or has feelings. So chapter 12 is the first time you actually, between the two of them, hear someone acknowledge that they still have that spark, they feelings for the other person. So he is acknowledging it, but he also doesn't know if she would share the same feelings. How soon I'm going to reveal that she does, I don't know. But then there's going to be the whole push and pull thing with her, because she has so many insecurities and this massive wall she's built up. She just wants to be safe. She wants to be with someone safe. She wants to be with someone who she thinks won't hurt her. She also doesn't want to be with anyone who reminds her of a painful time. And Brian, not only does he remind her of her time with her son's father, because they were best friends and he was there in that whole time period that she was with him. He was there when Javon left her. He didn't step up as the godfather like he should have, probably because he felt guilty, but he was there, and he reminds her of that time period, the high school period, when she loved Javon, but also when she fell in love with him and gave up this child. So he reminds her of probably the beginning of her putting her walls up. So for those reasons, she doesn't want to necessarily feel what she's still feeling for him. So she's gonna try to deny it, push those feelings away, ignore them. There'll be a moment where she gives into those feelings, and they give into those feelings, but then she'll go back to, no, we can't do this. I ain't got to get in that part of the re-outline of base, but I haven't got to get. But so that's probably when the whole no way number 1 will come in, or no way number 2, and the push and pull, and the maybe this could work. That's when those beats will feed into my story. I don't think I am. Am I still? I think I'm still in the setup phase, which I have to readjust my outline. But anyway, I'm back. Okay, so I'm in my pajamas now, and to be honest, I haven't gotten much further. I got through chapter 13 of the outline. I was hoping to be a little further than that by now, but so there's not going to be much on episode 4. I did go over the beats with you as I promised I would, and I went over some of the ones that I thought that I was probably going to have an issue with when I got to those particular beats, because they don't really fall in line with my story, like the meet cute. They're not meeting for the first time, they've already met. And the breakup, they're not really together to break up. So I'm not sure, excuse me, if that's going to fit in. There is going to be a whole push-pull with, are they going to lean into the feelings they're feeling stirring back up again? Are they not? There's going to be a few moments of intimacy and almost things almost happening and then not happening. And of course, when you get to the end, there's a grand gesture moment, which is going to probably be, spoiler alert, well, I don't know if he stops the wedding. In the original manuscript, she stops her own wedding. But I don't know, maybe it would be better if he stopped the wedding. Actually, no. Okay, so the way I wrote it in the original manuscript is he comes to her before she walks down the aisle. And he, makes his one final plea. They should be together. She can't be with somebody just to be safe. And, if he has to choose between, because there was another issue keeping her from being with him that involved a member of his family. And he's like, if he has to choose between them and her, he'll choose her all the time, and this, that, and the other. So, and she still was resigned even up to the last moment to marrying Cal. So she walks down the aisle. Her father walks her down the aisle. Her father even gives her another chance to say, rethink this. You want to do this? So she gets down the aisle. She's saying the vows, and then Bryant, is exiting the church, and she can see him exit. The way I wrote it, I'm talking like this is a movie, but so she can see him exiting the church, and basically this is her last chance. He's gonna leave, so he's not gonna be that person that stops the wedding and objects and says, no, you can't marry her, I love her. He's not gonna be that person. He's gonna stand there at the back of the church and give her one final time to listen to her heart. And so he's getting ready to walk out the church. Door opens. He's leaving. She stops the wedding. She says, wait. She apologizes to Cal. She's like, I'm not the woman for you. I want you to be happy, and you should be with someone who, who loves you the way that you love me, all that great stuff. And then she, goes down the aisle, actually, no. Then Bryant still continues outside the church. And so she takes off down the aisle, hoping she can stop him. And of course, she gets out there, and he's right there on the steps. But so that's how I have it in the manuscript. But I don't know, should it be him that stops the wedding? I don't know. I haven't even got that far to the outline yet. But needless to say, I did want to do some kind of update because I realized it had been a minute since I've done episode 3. I did say in episode 4 that I would go over some of the beats with you, and I had actually done some work since episode 3 because I finished chapter 9, which is where I left off. I did chapter 10, 11, 12, and now 13. So now we're up to the point where they're getting ready to donate she's getting ready to donate the bone marrow to her daughter. So she's getting ready to go through that procedure, and now they're having a discussion with one another about, at this point, they haven't met their daughter yet. At least where I'm at in chapter 13. They haven't met her yet, because the aunt, who is her mother, who's raising her as her own, she doesn't really want them to meet her because she knows it will kind of change everything. And there's some things that is going on in the aunt's household that she doesn't really want them to know, and she's nervous about because she's with an abusive husband. And so that, of course, is going to stem over and make um, Autumn more reassured in her decision when she decides that she wants her daughter back, basically. But the daughter who doesn't know she's adopted now is going to, when she finds out, speeding along for you, but when she does find out, she's going to express that she always kind of had a feeling that she wasn't where she was supposed to be or something like that. Kind of like she just felt like something was wrong. She always felt like she was an outsider, even though, these were her. Well, she knew he wasn't the aunt's husband wasn't her father, but, she didn't know that she wasn't her mother. So, and then she's going to feel an instant bond with Autumn, naturally. At least that's how it's going to be in my book. She's going to feel an instant bond with Autumn and Bryant. And at first she's not going to know why, because obviously she doesn't know at first. When she's going to first meet them, she won't know that they're her biological parents because she doesn't know she's adopted. But we'll get there. But then that's how they're going to find out that some things are going on in that household that she shouldn't be in that house. And of course it's going to make Autumn feel even more terrible because this is the person she chose to raise her daughter when she couldn't. And it's going to turn out to be a decision she's going to end up regretting. But she didn't have a choice at the time. It was better than the alternative. So, and they do have a kiss in chapter 13. There's a kiss. So that's going to be their first. I don't know if it's the first no way. It's just going to be the first. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Oh, it might be the first no way because they're going to kiss. Well, he's going to kiss her. And she's going to kiss him back, but then she's going to pull away and hesitate and, do the song and dance. The song and dance will begin. Of the push and the pull. And so, hopefully, in episode 5, because I'm going to end this episode here. Well, I'll come back and do my outro. You'll see me again in just a second. But, episode 5, I'm hoping to be further along. Maybe even done. And then we'll see whether I was able to apply those beats that I'm not sure will apply, or if I had to somehow finagle them in a different way. I'm also thinking about consulting the 3-act structure outline as well to see if I can merge some things with that, and I'm going to go back and look at Save the Cat again also. I'm one of those people that like to merge outlines, so I'm not an all or nothing kind of person when it comes to outlining, so I don't necessarily need to use all of one outline method. I kind of like, merging things together, and I do still have the Save the Cat, but I don't know if Save the Cat is going to work, so I might not use that, but I am going to go to the 3-act structure. I think Abby Emmons has on her YouTube channel the 3-act structure laid out, and oh my gosh, I'm really hoping. I should have been done with this outline by now. It's taking way longer than I thought it would take. Hopefully in episode 5, I will be reporting to you that I haven't done the outline. And I will kind of catch you up on where I am in the outline, where the story is going. And I gotta go over the original manuscript because there are some dialogue parts that I want to keep. So I've been putting sticky notes in certain dialogues. I mean, I might want to tighten them up a bit or maybe remove some of the dialogue lines, but the overall general conversation at certain points, like the conversation when she tells him, the conversation when they meet their daughter, those are some conversations that when I did the read through, I was like, oh, this wasn't bad. It was pretty good. I just need to tighten some things up in those particular conversations, maybe eliminate some of the dialogue so it's not so dialogue heavy. But and I definitely want to keep the end, the part, the wedding part, that I discussed. But I don't know. You let me know. Do you think she should be the one to stop her own wedding? Or should he be the one to stop the wedding? I thought it meant more if she still had that one, like he gave her that one final moment to do the, I'd say do the right thing, but to do what she knew in her heart was right for her, and then kind of pulled at her heartstrings, and to see her still so hesitant and so insecure and so set in being safe that she actually took the walk down the aisle and was about to say her vows, and like she was willing to go that far until she literally saw that her chance was slipping out of the door, literally and figuratively. So I don't know. Should he stop the wedding? Should she stop the wedding? Tell me. What do you think? But okay, yeah. So over to future me, editing me. Yeah. Bye. So that is where I'm at in my manuscript. I am really hoping that by episode 5 I will be done with this outline. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be done because life happens and things happen and get in the way. Haven't been feeling particularly well in the last week or so. So, I try as much as I can to do what I can when I can. So, that's all I can really do. But hopefully, it should at least be finished by episode 6. But we're going to hope it's done by episode 5 so that we can get to the redrafting phase of this. Actually, no, character sketches, because I have to do that first. And that's when I get to the fun part of making my Pinterest boards for my characters. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you like what you see and you want to see more videos from me, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. I post videos on Mondays and Thursdays, and I have live streams on Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, and as usual, if you want to support me in any of my creative endeavors, such as my blog site, my online magazine, my online store, or my Ko-fi page, all of those links can be found in the description box below. And until next time, have a blessed day. Bye.